Hello there, this is DBT, and these are the Vrooms. And alright, let's continue playing some more Asphalt 9, and today we're gonna be having a look at the new season, Dragon Race. And I am actually a little bit late, like 5-6 days late. You can see that already it's only 22 more days to go, but still I wanted to have a quick look at this because, well, you know what I was waiting for, and that is of course getting the Legend Pass to unlock the blueprints for the Lamborghini Invencible, which I did. Well, I already had unlocked the car, but because I spent some tokens and whatever into starting it up, thanks to this I was able to take the car to 5 stars, so that's gonna be another video coming out at some other point in the channel. But other than that, you can see that I've already made all the progress that I could doing all the missions, and I got the regular Legend Pass because it was at a 50% discount, so that was kinda dope. But having a quick look at the rewards that are given, it's kind of what you know with Zonda R. Well, I mean, the usual type of rewards, but the cars to be featured over here are the Zenbo TSRS. We also have the Zonda R. Over here we have the Ferrari 296 GTB, which apparently is going to be a key hunt. No, excuse me, a Grand Prix. And then we have the Jag XJ220S, the Class S one that nobody uses. And finally, some stuff for the actual main car, I suppose, the Team Fordzilla P1. And then, you know, just some more additional stuff. So, nothing too interesting in that sense. That's kind of how all these seasons work. But of course, we're going to be having a look at this thing, the Team Fordzilla P1, because, well, I do believe it's the main focus over here. And for that, there's already a special event going on. And, oh boy, what an event this is. You can see that I already made some progress, but the cars that are featured, or rather required over here, are pretty considerable. So we have to begin with the Glickenhaus 004C, which recently had the key hunt, which is fine because in that way you can start the event. Then we got the Zonda R, the Zenbo TSRS, we got the Gallardo, the Racer Tachyon. Further ahead we have the Ferrari 296 GTB, the GT by Citroen, and the Spano 2015 Spano, whatever it's called. I always forget what this thing is called. Spania GTA 2015 GTA Spano. What a confusing name. But anyway, so those are the main cars that are required over here. And for a player like myself that don't have the rare cars, well, I'm gonna be pretty much stuck. Because you can see that these cars continue to be required. I don't own the GTA Spano. I don't own the Citroen. I don't own the Pagani Zonda R. I do own the Racer Tachyon, but I don't own the Zenbo TSRS. And it's a bit of a problem because further ahead, like in the first stages of this special event, I was actually able to make some progress because I do have the cars at least at a slightly higher, or rather not at basic star. So for example, I do not own the Pagani Zonda R, but I do have it at 2 stars because, you know, the whole thing with the what's it called, with the Grand Prix and whatnot. So but that means that I don't get to claim this rewards, so on and so forth. And like I said, further ahead, for cars that I don't have, I'm gonna be pretty much stuck because I can only do a couple of conditions with the Invencible. I guess I can also get some additional conditions over here because these are not locked. These are probably gonna be free tries, and it doesn't have a, yeah, there it is, doesn't have a star requirement. But then obviously the better rewards, what one would be interested on, the tokens, the blueprints and all of that, that's locked behind a higher star count, so that's gonna be a problem. So I have zero hopes to get the Fordzilla P1. It's fine, I can live with that. So instead what we're gonna do over here is just play a little bit of multiplayer where I actually get to drive the car. Because yes, now it's early in the season, I only have one additional fuel, so that means I can only get to do 4 races with this thing. And just talking about the car itself, I know that already a lot of people have put out videos talking about the general performance of this thing, but I just want to have a quick look at the stats, where we have that the top speed is pretty high. Not by any means the highest, actually, for example, the GT by Citroen is much faster, but this is still pretty fast for a Class A car. Acceleration is where this thing really shines with almost 88 of acceleration. Handling, it's meh, and nitro, it's also meh. So yeah, in theory, it should have a lot going with the speed and the acceleration, but it would seem that that's not the case. And that has to do with the fact that this is one of those properly unagile cars in the game. You know that I've talked before how some cars are supposed to be not very agile, and yet they can do crazy stuff like the Chiron that has very low handling and all of that, but oh my god, that thing drifts like crazy and it can do floaties and all of that stuff. And to me that always made no sense. It's like, okay, if you want to have a car with bad handling, but it has good other stats, well, then why does it drift that good? So I guess they listen to me in a way, well, not to me, but just to that general train of thought. And we have here the Fordzilla, which again, a very quick car with great acceleration, but the problem with this car is the drift. And that's not to say that the drift is too wide or anything. It's pretty acceptable, but the problem is the loss of speed as you are doing the drift. So this is one of those cars that are more reminiscent of the more basic cars in the game, just in the sense that you gotta be real careful if you really want to drift or not. Maybe you want to reconsider. So yeah, I've seen people saying that this is not a proper king. It's gonna be rather a elite class A car, though it's not the highest ranked car in class A, but still it's within the top 5. And I got first place, defeating a bunch of class S cars. Look at me. All right, let's get to another race. So yeah, you gotta be a bit careful with the drift of this thing. But actually, I don't know. Listen, I'm not super experienced with the top of Class A cars in this game. Not in here, not in the Nintendo Switch, the version that I played the most. So I cannot speak really about, oh yeah, this compares to this or that. I don't have that level of experience yet. At some point, maybe. Who knows? But what I will say is that at least in theory, this car kind of makes sense to me. That it's not going to be a super agile car. Because this car does have very, like I said, that's why I wanted to have a look at the stats. It does have some really good top speed. Obviously, not the highest by any means, but pretty good top speed along with really great acceleration. And just from the top of my head, I don't think that there's another car in Class A that can combine these two things. Like, for example, I just showed you that the GT by Citroën, it's faster than this, but it doesn't accelerate nearly as good. So that is something to keep in mind. And that's another first place. What did I pick this time? Fordzilla P1, and there's the Spaniards, some Zondas and Zembos. Okay, that's fair. I mean, these cars do be strong. So yes, I was saying, the Citroën, for example, it's faster, but it has way worse acceleration. It's over 10 points lower acceleration than the Fordzilla. Jesus, what a name. Now, granted, this car is not an elite car, but the point that I'm trying to make is that, at least from what I've seen, there's no elite car that really matches the performance of the Fordzilla, just in the sense of having those two properties, high top speed with really high acceleration. And I can see maybe why they wanted to set it up this way, where it's not as agile, assuming that this is on purpose by Gameloft, where, it's gonna be like, well, the car doesn't need to be that agile because it can recover the speed very fast thanks to that absolutely bonkers acceleration. And for example, I'm thinking of the other, what is the fastest car in Class A? It's the, it's that racing car. I forgot what it's a Jaguar, isn't it? I think it goes like 410 kilometers an hour or something. Yeah, that is the fastest, but the acceleration is even worse than this. So yeah, you may have a ton of speed, but you're gonna suffer in other aspects. And for example, the Countach, the Lambo Countach LPI, that is I think so far at this point is still the highest ranked car in Class A. And that thing does have some really good acceleration also, but the top speed is in no way comparable to that one of the Fordzilla. So there's that to keep in mind. All right, so defeated the Racer Tachyon and 2 more GTA Spaniel, whatever. Well, to be fair, I mean, both the Racer and this, even though they're Class S, they're not that good, huh? So yeah, overall, it just seems to me that the role that the Fordzilla is occupying, it's meant to be very different than the current and even previous kings in Class A. We're actually going to look at a little bit of a comparison of the stats in a bit. Just wanted to do another race with this thing because I don't really have a lot of chances to drive this car, and I want to enjoy the crazy speed that this thing can get to, because hey, this is actually a car that I would like to get in this game. Not so much, I don't want it so much that I want to spend the tokens that I have right now. I have like, what, 13,000 tokens or something? And I don't feel like spending them, because you know that I'm always saving them for anything that has to do with Lambos. And currently, thankfully, all the Lambo-related stuff has been taken care of, so I already have my Invencible at the start. Oh my god, I'm fine. The star count that I wanted it, so that's fine, but I still want to save these tokens because, well, that's always my objective. But yeah, I would like to get this car at some point if possible, but well, I can only wait and hope that Gameloft one day will add I don't know, a special type of font or I don't know, something for me to be able to get this car, because man, I love this car when it rooms, and I'm making that bit of a reference because this same car is found in Asphalt. Managed to beat him. It's found in Asphalt 8, but over there it's electric. Over here it rooms, and I like it when it rooms. But what can I say? Oh, I didn't see what I beat. Oh well. So here we're gonna have a look at the stats again for a little bit, just in general what I was saying about the really high top speed and the acceleration and all of that, but thanks to Asphalt 89, because I grabbed this screenshots from his videos, shoutouts to Asphalt 89, here are the stats for the current and even some of the older kings of Class A. So we got the Tomaso, the Kunta Shell PI, the Valhalla, we have the Jag, the Mola, and the Rimac Concept one, which didn't stay as elite for too long, but anyway. So if we have a look at the stats, you will see what I was talking about, that the top speed, there's no other car in Class A other than the Jaguar, but let's leave that aside for a second. No other car that goes as quick as this one goes. Obviously, we have some that get a little bit closer, like the Mola at 379 basically, but it's still lower than this. But if we look at the acceleration, nothing at all compares, nothing. The highest acceleration is the Rimac Concept one. It's kind of close, but then compare the speed. This goes way slower than the Fordzilla. And obviously, as I said, I completely ignored the Jaguar because it's a very special case. It goes ridiculously fast, but this acceleration is almost 20 points lower than this. So this is what I was saying, that's why I kind of understand that the Fordzilla is occupying a very special role in Class A. Now, that's not me saying that this is going to be a king as good as all those other cars, because like I said, I just don't have enough experience in the game to be able to say, oh yeah, no, even without the floaties, you're still gonna be able to do amazing. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not that level of player, so I trust the more skilled players that are saying, yeah, this is no king because he cannot do floaties and all of that. So if that is the case, well, there we go. But I just wanted to have a quick look at the stats because I think it's a little bit important to put into context how this car has been balanced, and like I said, why I think it's not so, well, not that it is not terrible, but I can see why they kind of made up the lack of floaties simply by having crazy acceleration. Yeah, it's gonna lose speed when it's drifting, but then just use some nitro and suddenly guess what? You're gonna be again at top speed. Now, again, not enough experience to be able to say this confidently, but you know, I just wanted to put it out there so that there's something to talk about. So yeah, changing the color, let's do a couple more races with this thing. Another thing to maybe consider, and big emphasis on the maybe, is that this is not a key car, you know? So this is a car that you can get just through blueprints, which obviously means you need to spend a ton into getting the blueprint just to unlock the car, but it removes that bit of a problem with the key. So I don't know if that also counts into how GameLoft balances some of these cars. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just don't have the skill level to be able to tell accurately, oh no, this car is so much worse than anything else. Again, I will just believe the people who said that it's really bad, because hey, they have much more experience than I do. I do have, for example, a Kunta Shell PI in the Switch version, but the Switch version and the global version play very different. Or at least for me, it plays very differently because to me, it's obviously just a matter that I'm used to it, but to me, the Switch version is so much more comfortable for me to drive over there. So the experience that I have on the Switch, I don't think it's necessarily transferable. Yeah, I did that section wrong, huh? I don't think that's necessarily transferable to the global version, so that's why I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, I've driven a lot of Kunta Shell PI, and not really, I haven't. So I don't know. What I will say is that at least it seems to me like an interesting car because they went in a completely different route. Because in a way, all the other kings of Class A, you could kind of see their similarities. Oh yeah, the speed and this. The acceleration of all of them were between 80 and 82. So they were very consistent until the Jag XJ, whatever 9 it's called, showed up. Once that thing showed up, it really broke the mold. But all right, hold on. And by breaking the mold, I mean that, you know, that car did things so differently than all the other cars, the kings, by being a ridiculously slow accelerator, but ridiculously fast and with insane nitro. In a way, it reminds me a little bit of the McLaren F1 LM from Class V, but in Class A. So yeah, a little bit of mold breakers, and again, I think that this one, the Fordzilla, it's also another one of these mold breakers, because it's different. It's very different than the stats of all the cars. Now, whether or not that is gonna be good or bad for the car and the labs that people can set up, I don't know. Maybe in some labs this is gonna be good, in some tracks, but who knows. Now, if you want to get a heart and a pin on this video, you need to leave me the key phrase, which for today is going to be, let's see if perspective of the Fordzilla changes over time. First person to post it gets the heart, the pin. Anyone else that posted afterwards only gets a heart. But yeah, I'm just curious to see if maybe over time people are gonna find some use of the Fordzilla, because obviously the first impressions matter, but oh god, I almost hit the divider. But I don't know, maybe there's a use case that we haven't seen. I don't know. Again, I just don't have the skill to really be questioning it that much, but I'm just curious to see if effectively something's gonna be different. But alright, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I post content pretty much daily, so there's always something to watch. But yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.